Chapter 4. Fear unmasked. Fear is unreal and it needs to be unmasked to be well overcome. Finally, its unreality also needs to be demonstrated. It is obvious that all know that fear is always the source of failure. When you experience a circumstance in which you are tempted to be afraid, even if what you are likely to fear is in front of you, at the same time be aware that you are manifesting the spirit of believing in evil, therefore you are developing faith in the existence of the reality of evil. You exclude the good from your thoughts. You are denying God because He is the good, and at the same time, you are neglecting His power because we are aware that in the history of humanity the testimonies abound that all those who have resisted the fearful times succeeded, as the dew evaporates so quickly in the presence of the sun, in annihilating them through the fact of keeping the presence of God the good in their spirit, in their thoughts. To be afraid means that you have faith. The conviction that what you fear exists because you manifest the feelings and you have received them. You are vibrating at the same frequency as the evil you fear. So you are attracting it to you because we know faith creates. What is highly astonishing and absurd is that the poor in thought, after using their fear to create problems or challenges, turns around and says that, which of course happens because of fear, is the will of the divine. In other words, you defend your weaknesses and address everything to the divine. It is a big mistake that makes fearful people stay in trouble because the divine who is supposed to save them is loaded with responsibility for all the troubles. The will of the divinity is always to save you from the problem by restoring you to good, therefore in Him, because God Himself is good. It is as if the parents leave the children at home, they give them advice and rules to follow to stay in peace. When they are home alone, children often play and enjoy experimenting on all things forbidden by their parents. They get into fights and arguments because there is no one to control them, and as a result one of them gets hurt, etc. In consoling each other, they do not say to each other, "Sorry, this is the will of our parents." With this illustration, you see the absurdity of the custom of imposing on the will of the divine the responsibility in all human experience. Continuing our illustration, when the parents come home and find the damage caused by the children, they immediately go to the procedures for restoring harmony in the family. If the next need arises to leave the children alone again, they repeat these same words before leaving. "Dear good children, this time, be careful." It is the same for the divine. His will is that you remain eternally in harmony, keeping faith in Him, because since He is Spirit He manifests Himself in you through your spirit, your faith. And if you face challenges, to restore harmony to you He will go through your faith. And what He asks of you in every situation is to believe in the eternal presence of good, so to believe in it and see miracles happen. On the other hand, remember that if you believe in the reality of the presence of evil or bad, you will see it manifest. You may hear people saying that sometimes they have done all to believe to get something good, but God did His will and gives them what is good for them. Dear reader, there hasn't been a single day when the divine has tried to do anything without going through the thought of the concerned, therefore through his faith. Yes, He is almighty, but to do anything He needs someone who believes Him, and He works through that person's mind or faith. The Spirit, God, or the universe is comparable to electricity. Electricity to provide energy that will turn into the light to light you, heat for your iron, cold for the operation of your refrigerator, etc. It goes through conductive wires. What you do is just appropriately connect the appropriate device and you receive the desired result. If you don't do this, or if you are not qualified to use electricity in any field, you have nothing to receive and you will not blame the electricity. When you want the electrical energy to give you light, you need to connect the lamp. When you want the iron to be hot, you connect it. When you need to charge the phone, you connect the charger. When you want to amplify the voice, you connect the microphone system. But you do not forget that when you touch the electrical wires with your bare hand, it will end life with the same energy used to give light, heat, and coldness to the refrigerator. Spirit, God, universe, whatever name you like. He is here in us and around us. He occupies everywhere, all space. He is omnipresent among us with all His omnipotence, and He is always active, in us and everything. He never stops. He never rests. This is the reason why you need to know how to go with him so that manifesting his presence through your thoughts results in a better life. The manifestation of the divine does not do what you want with your conscious mind, because the conscious has no faith, it does not grow, it plays the role of guardian or conductor, it controls our system based on what he knows according to him to be just. Many times you wish for something and you don't get it. When this happens you shouldn't ask yourself many questions, neither could you say it is the will of the divinity, but you have been given the time to know that what you would like to achieve does not relate to the program of the subconscious mind, so you don't believe. In other words, you haven't got effective faith to manifest that thing. It is now the task to build faith, to use the means available to install all the necessary and related information in your subconscious to achieve what you intend to do. This is simply what is called prayer. Prayer is the building of faith. You may say and affirm that, when you have some belief in yourself, you leave no other choice for the manifestation of God to do differently than what you believe. Refer to how things were with the Israelites. The strong man of the time called Joshua had faith and stopped the sun in Gibeon and the moon stopped in the valley of Aallon in an attempt to end the war against the Moors. In fact, the sun did not stop because it never moves, but rather the earth, because the sun never revolves around the earth, but the earth does revolve around the sun. Then think of the ability of a human being to stop the motion of the earth and the moon just because he wants to end his fight. Because he asks it to God of love who, except through the false beliefs of humans, has never decreed the need for wars between his creation. Of course it was a miracle, but so far many miracles are there to happen between us. For example, today you can't talk to someone living in Africa or Europe while you are in America. You call it the advancement of technology perhaps, but this was not possible for mankind in ancient times, which means that for them it could be enormously amazing. This man had stopped the movement of the moon, but today astronauts set foot on this moon. You could also say that it was because God listened to Joshua, which is correct of course, but do not ignore that at the time when the Israelites showed fear or when they complained, that is, when they manifested the negative mind or when they believed in defeat, which is faith in evil or the creation of evil through their thoughts, this same God, the good who was for their interests able to stop the movement of the earth and that of the moon, left them to be conquered by others who, according to their belief, did not have this God. But in reality the good or God, precisely in this context, the good is victory, always remains on the side of all, without discrimination, those who have faith in it. So God, the good, in all circumstances is on the side of all those who have faith in him, the good. Definitely God is unable to successfully help someone who does not believe in him, just as electricity is unable to flow through plastic. God is not human, he is the creative principle, the spirit always present. Man is made according to his image and his likeness, and all that man thinks and rethinks ends up entering his subconscious as a fact, as a belief, therefore manifests in his future life. It follows that the wars, catastrophes, calamities and plagues that are called natural are not due to the divine will itself, which is angry at his beloved creation, for God is love and it is impossible to ask him for more, but are collectively unconsciously drawn to humanity whose conscious mind is generally corrupt and depraved, for likes flock together. And there is no science or technology that can prevent them except being collectively and consistently honest and fair. Parents, leaders, political leaders, etc., all those who can have some influence on the thought of humanity are responsible for this. The truth of being has never been a hidden secret. It is available and clearly exposed to be discerned by everyone. Finally, that each of us may be aware of his part in this life, the role of divinity has been done. Everything is complete. He has given power to your thought, to your belief, and whatever belief you have individually or collectively manifests in your life, whether good or bad, even though in the conscious mind you would have needed something different. For consciously wanting something doesn't necessarily mean you believe it. The divine or creative power does not look and judge like human beings. The human race looks at what is visible, but the divine looks at the heart, in the inner person, in the subconscious mind. You have to constantly watch your heart and pay attention to what you are constantly thinking. For what you constantly think, good or bad, even if it is in order to avoid it. In other words, you are fixing it firmly in your subconscious to be created and appear in your future life.